I don't know when this is going to air, but I had in my doing the videos, I don't like to do more than one a day because I really like to put time into it. But in this particular one, I'm going to do two because the one I just did before this, and I don't know how it's going to air, was about the young woman who is a nurse practitioner, as a 13-year-old boy that has failing grades, went from B to D's. And I told you that she's going to give them to me probably in a month or so. And I told you all about it. I'm not going to be redundant. I told you that my hit ratio over my life has been very high 90s, if not close to 100. But here was one that I'd like to talk to you about that's very near and dear to me, close to home. My wife's son. Yep, my wife's son. May have been the fact that when I met my wife, he was already 17 years old. He was rule of the roost, king of the house. But let's back up a little bit. When he was about 2.5 years old, 3 years old, his mother, very bright woman, she's over here on the left here, and she noticed. Again, I want to just give a little shout out to my wife. PhD, a couple of credits short of it. Education, taught the New York City school systems, taught in Florida. Started her own businesses down there. This is where I met her. I was in New York. They were looking for somebody, and they needed a guy like me to take them to the next level. Anyway, let's get through all of that. This little guy was probably close to 3, and the mother saw or felt something strange. She just did. Her instincts, a very bright woman. She brought him to the doctor. Doctor tested him. That little baby had a 3-pound mass in him. I don't know if you know what 3 pounds is. 3 pounds is probably, I'm not going to get into weights. I don't want to tell you what I was born on a table. I was almost probably his weight, but I was a big boy. But let's say 20 pounds, if that, 18. Think about it, 20%, maybe 18% of its weight was mass. And the mass wasn't benign. The mass was a tumor, cancerous. She immediately got him into the hospitals. St. Luke's hospital, which is fantastic. My wife and I are not very big. There are people that are huge. We contribute on a monthly basis to various and sundry, 4 or 5 or 6 veterans, Shriners, Alzheimer's, you name them. But in this particular case, they wanted her because they would do the whole thing, operate. She could stay with them. No charge, on and on and on. Well, where she comes from, she comes originally from Long Island, but she's lived in Florida for coming up now on probably 40 years. But back then, she was in Florida, and there was a hospital, Miami, but it wasn't Miami Hospital. It was Children's Hospital back then. And evidently, she left an effect on them that they turned to her and said, you know what? We want to do it. We'll do the operation. We'll pay for everything. You will pay for nothing. Any bill you get, rip it up. Pretty good. Well, let me go through a little bit further with this. 95% of those children died. There's a thing called Wilms tumor. That's what he had. 1 kidney was removed. Half of his lung on the right side was taken out. He had a scar from one hip to the other hip. He was supposedly never, because of all the drugs, to have children. We have our oldest granddaughter, Skylar, who's 19 years old. How that happened, it happened. But I'm getting ahead of myself. She stayed on hospital floors, in chairs, on couches, 5 years. 5 years at that hospital. If it wasn't in the hospital, it was home and back to the hospital. Hospital, back home, hospital. 5 years. I'd like for you guys out there to think about if you're a little guy, 3 years old, had a 95% chance of not living, what would you do? Well, if you met my wife, you'd understand. She's not only a given person, she's an intelligent person. And that was her son. And that wasn't her legal son. She adopted him at 3 days old. But that was her son. He made it. 95% lost it. They lost their lives. I met one survivor that was with him. Very, very, very nice young man. Owns a large pool company down here in Florida. She sent him to university schools, private schools, you name it. She got him everything. She went to Europe, to south of France almost every year, every other year. She took him. She went for lunches and all. She took him. She spoiled the living hell out of him. Why? Because the kid almost died. She figured that's the least she can do. You know what she did? She ruined him. She didn't know it. She was doing what any mother, I don't know any mother, but most mothers would do. She spoiled him, just like the one that I'm going to be getting. Spoiling. Doesn't work. When I come onto the scene, he was about close to 17 years old, if not 17, probably a junior in high school, at university. Private schools, $10,000 a year. Talking maybe 40 years ago, 35 to 40. A lot of money. But that's the way she was. She wanted to do it. The husband in her life was really what I call a non-husband. He was there, but Nina was the provider. Anyway, I come on the scene, and actually and truthfully, it really was not great for that young man, because think about it. He's 17 years of age, and here comes this guy. And I'm a fairly big guy, in his 40s. And here's this kid. Keep in mind, he ran the house. Boy, he saw me, and I saw it. Because I took care of, and I went with girls that had children that were either younger or not quite that age. I got them probably the oldest, about 15. But I had a number of them, and I kind of settled them in. Settled them in tough, some of them. Some of them I had to literally give them a smack. They learned. This particular one, I could see it. He was going to give me trouble. He just was. He didn't like the fact that I was going to get involved with his mother, which naturally I married. He didn't like the fact that I was going to be taking charge. He didn't like the fact that I actually was running 4 companies. He didn't like any of it. And he gave me problems. And when you give a guy like me problems, I don't really back away. He didn't want to work. I made him work. He didn't want to go to college. He went to a school, community college for his area, an art school. He did very well in Orlando. And he was there, and I had an office there. I told the guy, I said, I want my wife's son, my son, to work. He said, his name was Jerry. He said, I don't know. I said, listen to me. I'm telling you, I want him to work. And I'm telling you this, do not lie to me and tell me he's working when he's not. I want this kid to learn. Now keep in mind, it's like anything else when you get it. If you get it too late, sometimes you can't make the turn. So I put him to work begrudgingly. Oh boy, I'll tell you. He wanted to sleep. And I'd call the office sometimes, specifically looking for him. I'd ask the manager. He said, he's not here yet. It's 10 o'clock. I said, where is he? He said, I don't know. I said, it's your job to know where he is. He said, well, Mrs. Kelly, I'm not going to go out and get him every day. I said, no, but you are going to get him in that office at 9 o'clock, the appropriate time, and work. When he has time off from school, yes, you are. I expect that. Well, he did, came in, and always with that chip. Keep in mind, had that chip on his shoulder, right from the start. Never lost it to this day. Sometimes you can't do it. Did she do anything wrong? Yeah, but no. She spoiled him. She thought that was the right thing to do. As I said, and I don't know how these videos will come out, the one before this 13-year-old that I will be seeing, he's younger. Maybe there's a chance with him, but she's spoiling him. Why? Because they think that's what they should do. The mother felt, in this case, my wife, that he had such a bad turn that she wanted to give him what he didn't have. So she gave him everything. When he graduated from the high school, which I told you was private, I don't want to be redundant, there were many individuals that went there that their dads and moms they were multi-millionaires. And these kids would come off the campuses of their senior year and have new Corvettes and this and that, and he right away looked at us and said, where's my car? And I said, what do you mean, where's your car? He said, I'm getting a new car. I said, who says you're getting a new car? Did your mother tell you? He said, no. I said, I'm telling you, no. I'll get you a car, like I got the other ones. I got them good cars. And keep in mind, we're talking 20, 25 years ago, maybe 30. Those cars were like $10,000 cars. They were decent. Well, in his case, he took that car, and let me tell you, what he did with that car. If the mother was here now, with me on this video, she'd tell you, he destroyed it. He lied to us. Did I help? I tried. The mother tried. Have we spoken to him? He's got to be close to 50. No, in years. He has a deep-rooted animosity. We tried. She did. I got him late. I did the best I can do. I knew I was fighting an uphill battle, but I just want to show you the comparisons, how careful you got to be and when you got to get them. Buying them is not the answer. Buying them all these gifts is not the answer. Tough love is the answer. A lot of you people don't like to give it, but you have to. You got to make them work. You got to make them understand the value of $1. You got to make them appreciate it. You got to make them appreciate you. You got to talk to them. Do I wish I had gotten him when he was 12 or 13? Yeah, but it wasn't the case. I didn't meet the mother till he was 17. That's just the way it was. So, what I'm saying to you, and I don't want to be redundant, is this. Get your children, if you see, and you should be seeing and talking to them, that they're not making the right move, that their grades are failing, that they're staying in their room too long, that they're not listening, they're not working. There are signs. You got to read them. You don't read them, I don't know, you're going to pay the consequences. If you want to flip the coin and roll the dice, I'd say you take a better chance of going to Vegas. It's not good. Not good. Am I looking for a hit ratio? No. Does that bother me? Yeah, even more so. It's her son. But I knew what I had. I had an older boy set in his ways, and I couldn't get over the fact that he was so sick and his mother gave up so much of herself. She became president of Second Generation Deed Club. When she resigned, there were over 700 doctors came to the Fontainebleau. I was very proud of her. She brought in 1992 the first bone marrow transplant. She became Woman of the Year, University of Miami. She did all those things, but guess what? None of it worked on him. She did her best. I got involved later. I did my best. Wherever he is, we hope, we truly do, that he's fine, that he's working. I think some of my work ethic got to him, and I think he is working and surviving. I hope he is, for his sake. But I'm going to end by telling you, be aware. Look for the signs. Don't let them come to you. And don't go before it's too late. Catch them while they're young. You stand a much better chance, just like a tree. When you plant it young, it's going to grow straight. Try to move a 20, 25-year-old tree and it's growing crooked and straighten it out. Boy, you got a lot of digging to do and a lot of rerooting to do. And wow, what you did to yourself. Don't. Look for the signs. Make the effort. They're worth it. You brought them in here. They didn't ask to come. Take care of them. Do the job that you should do. And I'm not saying this for all you people out there. I'm sure that there are many out there that are doing phenomenal jobs with your children. And I take my hat off to you. But there are many that are not. And those are the ones I'm talking to. Along with the ones that are, you could pick up a few pointers. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. Questions you might have, let me have them. You might have your opinion. I'd like to hear it. Let's go back and forth. Again, thank you very much. Have a good day.